Hi guys, there are legitimate questions to be asked about the cost to businesses and, for example, the NHS and public services if the government increases national insurance contributions in the upcoming budget. For example, the economist Richard Murphy explained in a recent video that the NHS could see up to $3 billion of its budget disappear as a result of this increase. But instead of asking questions like that, what do you think Laura Kuenssberg did? Yeah, wasted time on her show with Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, on the concept of working people. Have a listen to this.
We know there's going to be a hike in employers' national insurance contributions, and Rachel Reeves confirmed that doesn't fall under her definition of a tax on working people. Why are people who run businesses not working people?
What we set out in our manifesto was that we would not increase VAT, national insurance or income tax on working people, and coming out of this budget, working people will not see higher taxes in the pay slips that they receive. That is really important because we know the pressures that people are under. On other measures in the budget, other tax measures, you'll have to wait to ask directly Rachel Reeves when she is here. And I can't you'll appreciate, the Sunday ahead of the budget, I can't speculate on precise tax measures.
This isn't speculating. I'm asking a question of principle. Why are people who run businesses not working people under the Chancellor's own definition?
Because our manifesto is all about VAT, national insurance and income tax on people whose main source of income is the income that they earn from going out to work.
Well, that's not really what your manifesto said, actually. Your manifesto said repeatedly, in fact, here's a quote here from Rachel Reeves. You read it. It says in black and white, we won't increase national insurance, income tax and VAT. So I ask you again, why are people who run businesses not working people in this government's eyes?
As I say, our manifesto was very clear about who we were talking about and what we meant. Wider measures, other spending and taxation measures within the budget, you'll appreciate the Chancellor will set all of those out, and it's more than my job is worth to come in your programme and announce ahead of time what might or might not be in the budget.
But I'm not, Secretary of State, asking you about the decisions on Wednesday. I'm asking you what you mean as a government, what you meant in your manifesto by working people. The definition of this is incredibly important because you're using it as the foundation for how you make decisions about people's pay slips, people's income. So how do you define a working person?
Well, you are inviting me to speculate by the nature of the question that you're asking. What I'm saying is that after the budget, when people look at their pay slips, they will not see higher taxes. I think that's a very clear commitment about why we are making sure that we recognise the importance of getting that right, because working people have faced higher taxes year after year under the Conservatives. We face some really tough choices, because not just that in-year £22 billion black hole that we face, but the longer-term direction of our country, the terrible growth that we've seen in recent years. We are determined to turn that around, and all of the work that I'm leading around skills is a crucial part of how we back businesses, how we get growth back, and how over time that allows us to invest more in our public services to break that doom loop that you described of ever higher taxes on working people and lower growth.
But forgive me, I'm not asking you about the details of the budget. I'm asking you what Labour means by a working person.
I'm sorry this video had to go on for about 3 minutes, but Laura Kuenssberg would refuse to let it go. It's completely irrelevant at this stage. What is the point of doubling down on what is a working person? The government look, I really wish the government ministers would just say, do you pay PAYE? Do you pay national insurance in particular on what you earn? Yes or no? If you do, then you're a working person. That's it. So if you earn your money from shares, you don't pay national insurance, then you're not a working person. And just leave it at that and move on from this. This is supposed to be journalism. What she should be doing is asking, okay, if national insurance is rising for employers, how's that going to impact the economy? That would be a better question, because that would be a real question, because it has real consequences. The definition of a working person doesn't really have any consequences. It's semantics. It's a pointless question. It's a pointless position to hold. We need to know the meaning of a working person. Okay, here's the definition of a working person. People who pay national insurance on their income. There, it's done. Now, can we move on to something more important? But this sort of gutter journalism of let's focus on trivialities as opposed to the real issues. And the real issue is, will an increase in national insurance on employers have an impact on the economy? Because some people are saying that, some economists are saying that there's a risk that it will result in people not receiving increases in their pay because this extra cost will be passed on to the worker. It's also possible that this extra cost will be passed on to the consumer, which could drive up inflation. These are legitimate questions. For example, the NHS hires over 1.5 million people. How is the NHS going to cover this cost? Is this going to come out of existing budgets? Is this going to be covered in the increase that West Streeting is going to see in his budget? These are legitimate questions. How is this going to impact businesses? How is it going to impact the economy? How is it going to impact workers? But instead, journalists want to know, what is a working person? A waste of time. There's 3 minutes, almost 3 minutes of an interview wasted on a pointless definition. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.